So as this war rages on from Iran, I don't really have an intention to give too much details or make a video with regarding to what's going on with that war. There's always a fog of war, and I'm mostly keeping my distance from this because, um, you know, I don't necessarily trust all the reporting that's coming out. There's a lot of propaganda that's coming out, so I'm kind of a wait and see. I hope that that it ends soon, because the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. So there's a couple of points that I want to talk about in the next couple of minutes. One is that allegedly there's a signal that went out that came from Iran, like this broadcast signal. Now, how is this being received? I don't know. That detail was not reported. So what that implies is that there are Shia terrorists or operatives in a lot of Western countries. This could be like Hezbollah, or this could be agents directly from Iran. And they could do terrorist attacks. So that could either be terrorist attacks, or in this fog of war, perhaps we could have false flags. And a terrorist attack, if coming from Iran, could be in retaliation to what's going on over there, or possibly they could be CIA or Mossad agents posing as Iranian operatives doing a false flag for the sake of rallying up the population to support ground forces. Okay, to end this war, my guess is that most likely we would need a huge amount of ground forces to just reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, don't take that statement seriously. I'm not a military expert, but I do pay attention to what's going on over there, and I've looked at this from several angles. This is something that's been talked about for over 20 years. The George W. Bush administration and those neocons were talking about invading Iran back then. And this is stuff that's been talked about for a long time, that a war with Iran would be a disaster. But anyway, I'm going to put all that aside, and I'm not going to talk about that right now. So I wanted to talk about the possibility of terrorist attacks or a false flag attack here, and what the consequences might be. The other thing that I want to talk about, another consequence of this that's affecting Americans more directly, is the censorship. So the Israeli lobby have been passing laws in certain states, my state included here in Florida, saying that if you make fun of someone who is Arab or Jewish, essentially, like if you were to make fun of someone's religion, that is like basically a hate crime, which I'm disappointed that would pass here in the state of Florida. I'm a huge believer in free speech. I believe people should have the right to speak their mind, provided that they're not committing a crime. In other words, they're not actually physically threatening someone, or they're not telling somebody how to commit a crime or something like that, or they're, obviously you don't want to slander someone without just cause, etc. But in a lot of these Jewish lobbies are talking about, now they're saying that any disagreement of what's going on in Iran, like anybody who says that the war is going badly, or this is not something that Trump should be doing, they're saying that this should be censored. They're claiming that this is an extension of anti-Semitism, and why would this lobby have the kind of power to have that kind of say here in the United States? Okay, we have the right to dissent against the government peacefully, and what the government is doing. So this is something I'm very concerned about. What it looks like is happening, and I think everybody agrees with me who's paying attention, that this is something that Israel is trying to drag the United States much more fully into. They want the United States to completely commit to a full-scale war with Iran. And when I say that, I'm talking about boots on the ground. We're talking hundreds of thousands. I think probably going to be in the millions of forces to do a regime change in Iran. There are more details to this that I want to talk about, but not right now. I'm going to save that for later. And this is going to be an absolute disaster. This is going to be a disaster politically, and this is going to be a disaster in a lot of other ways here in the United States. So anyway, there's other things that I could report on right now. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to put the link in the descriptions below. One is an X post. The other one is an article from InfoWars that I'll just go ahead and do that. Not necessarily that I agree with everything Alex Jones says, but sometimes they actually do some good reporting. So I'll put a link in the description below there.